So I'm sitting here with a guy that we had just met by the name of Raymond. And this is a guy that we see every day close to where we live at. Raymond is a homeless man who's on the corner basically every day with a sign that says that he's homeless. It was seeing this man every single day that made me want to stop and talk to this guy and really find out what his situation was. And Raymond has been kind enough to join us here on After Prison Show to tell us his story. Do you consider being homeless almost like being your own business?
Actually, I make more money homeless than I do if I had a 7 to 3 job making minimum wage.
So how much money do you make on a weekly basis?
On a good week, they come outside and tell me I can never come back to the Salvation Army. I'm banned for life from the Salvation Army. I can't even go in there and get a cup of soup.
It's crazy to say this, but you were legitimately living like man versus wild. I mean, you're camping every single day.
Yeah, I'm surviving.
Let me ask you a really crazy question. You know, there's homeless people who will go out and commit small crimes in an effort to get locked up because they don't have anywhere else to go. Have you ever thought about doing that yourself? Raymond, the first thing that I want to say is thank you for taking the time to agree to do this with us.
It's no problem.
You know, every day when we leave or when we're coming back, we're always seeing you sitting in the same spot. And you've got a sign out there. You usually have bags around you with, it looks like goods that people have given to you as they're passing you by. I really just want to take this time to hear your story if you'd be willing to share that with us.
Yeah, no problem sharing my story.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what led to you being homeless?
Let's see, I'm originally from a little town up in New Jersey called Hopewell. All right, about 8 years ago, I was working for a masonry company. Come on the winter time, work slowed down, so I got laid off. So my sister told me, she lives in Virginia for the last 18 years. She told me that there was plenty of work down here, that it's nice down here. So I got on a train, came down. I ended up going to work with my sister's boyfriend doing scrapping, doing that for a while. And then I ended up getting a job at up in Montrose, Virginia, at Carry On Trailers. I was living out of a motel up there, paying $225 a week. I was making $400 or $500 so I could swing that. About 3 months into the working there, I met a kid named Daniel. He said him and his mom will rent me a room for $100 a week. I said, that's fine. So I moved in there. He got fired from Carry On for not showing up for work. So one night I came home from work at about 2:30. I was taking my clothes off the clothesline. And he come in, he was out partying, whatever, because I knew it was something up because he was a quiet type of person. He didn't say much, and he was a little loud and stuff, so I asked him for a cigarette. He told me, he says, if you didn't spend all your money and doing stupid shit, you'd have money. And me with my mouth, I just blurted out, if you weren't a bum mooching off your mom, you get a job. That sent him off the deep end. He started cussing me out, told me I wouldn't get effing out of my house and all this stuff. I told him, I said, look, I paid your mother rent for this month. I said, your mom wants me out after my rent's done? I said, I'll move out. I said, you want me out tomorrow? You reimburse me the money that I paid out for the rent. He said, you ain't getting nothing. And I'm like, you know what? We'll discuss this in the morning with your mother. So I went into my room. I didn't know he followed me in. I'm bending down, doing something. I think I was picking up clothes or something. He hits me in the back 3 times. So I turned around and I said, you little piece of shit. And I reached up and I started choking him. And that's when he stabbed me with an 8-inch buck knife. And I looked down and I said, you little, you stabbed me? And his mother heard it. she come out and says, "What's going on?" I said, "Your son just stabbed me." And she said, "Oh my God, oh my God." So they called the rescue squad. I had a 10-inch cut. It got me in my intestines, in my liver. They airlifted me from Montrose, Virginia to Stafford to William Mary Hospital, where the surgeon said if I didn't get there within the hour, he said I would be dead. And you know that thing where they say on the movies where you get cold when you're dying? That is true. So when I went up there, I was in the hospital for a week. But because I didn't call work for 3 days, I got fired for violating company policy. So that's how I ended up. I ended up coming back to Virginia Beach to my sister's, and I was helping out at the Salvation Army auction. I was going over there pushing cards, and I met this guy and a girl, Gail and Nate. They have an auction. What they do, the flea markets down in off of Fools Point in Norfolk. I was going down there on Saturday, Sunday, setting up and tearing down, making $50 a day for them. And my sister and her now fiance, I didn't want to intrude on them, so I moved out, and that's why I'm homeless now.
I mean, there's so much right there that you've just talked about. You're living with somebody who ends up stabbing you. You get airlifted to the emergency hospital. They perform surgery on you. Because of this, you end up losing your job because you didn't call in company policy. Did you try to contact your work and say, hey, look, this is what happened?
When I got out of the hospital, I brought the paperwork to the company and all that, and I showed them all this, and they said, policy is policy. There's nothing we can do. They told me I could come back in January. There's a 6-month waiting period.
After you've been terminated?
Said, yeah, they said they will rehire me in January.
So you ended up coming down to this area, yes. And that was ultimately how you became homeless.
Well, my thing is, I can make more money down here holding the sign up than up in Montrose, Virginia.
You know, we're going to bounce around a little bit with this interview, but you just mentioned that you could make more money holding a sign down here, yes. Which brings up a good question that I'd like to ask that I'm sure a lot of people would like to know. Talk about how much money you make on a daily basis actually holding this sign up.
On a good day, Fridays are usually my good day. Fridays I end up anywhere from $100 to $175.
That is unbelievable. There's people who have actual jobs that don't make that kind of money.
Yeah. But one day I sat out there for 4 hours, made $7. So it you know, it's according where I sat at the Greenbrier Mall, right? So you got your regulars who come out to go to work and stuff, but it's nice there because you got people going to the mall. You don't see the same people all the time because there's different people going to the mall. That's where most of my money comes from, the mall people. But I get food, clothing and stuff from the community. Like I had a lady brought me 2 sleeping bags, 2 heavy sleeping bags, which she asked me if I needed anything. I said, yeah, I need sleeping bags. The church I go to, he gave me clothing, and my bicycle was stolen. They gave me a new bike. And everything that I have has come from the community of Chesapeake.
Have you experienced any problems doing this? Any people who have tried to be rude to you? Or?
I got people who ride by every day, yell, get a job, call me a bum. And the thing is, if you're homeless when you go for a job interview, you don't have an address, job company kind of looks at you like, well, he's kind of unreliable because you don't have a home address, so we can't really rely on these people. And if you don't have a license, you're restricted to a certain area because the buses are unreliable. The buses run anywhere from 5 minutes fast to a half hour late. One day I caught the bus down to Norfolk. I had to go see legal aid. I come back, I'm at the military light rail station at 9 o'clock at night. It was supposed to have a 10 o'clock bus. There was no 10 o'clock bus. I ended up walking 2.5 hours from military light rail back to where I stayed. So, like I said, if you have no vehicle and you don't have a permanent address, it's hard to get the job.
And let's go ahead and throw this in here as well. You do also have a criminal record, correct?
Yes, I do. Yes,
And
I do.
can we talk a little bit about what you've been arrested for?
Up in New Jersey, I was arrested for stealing construction equipment. I worked for a company. He had the backhoes. I had a guy who bought backhoes and shipped them overseas. Now, if anybody that worked construction knows that all construction keys fit every different. If you have a case backhoe, I got a case backhoe. My key will fit your machine. The only difference is they got a flap that comes up. You put a padlock on it. So if I have a key and I cut your padlock, I could drive your machine away.
So let's talk about this a little further. I mean, you're telling me you were actually stealing big construction equipment backhoes. How exactly was this? How were you doing this?
The backhoe is a front end loader with the little hoe in the back that you use.
Right.
Like I said, once you cut the padlock for the flap, all keys are interchangeable. So I was driving it off the construction site. I had the guy who was buying it meet me like a mile or two down the road. And he had a tractor trailer, a box one, so he'd drive it in, close it, and you couldn't see.
So you end up getting caught for stealing these backhoes. You get a grand larceny charge for this. I also have grand larceny on my record, and it's a stealing charge.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies and employers are going to look at that like you're just a thief, and they're not going to want to give you a chance because of that.
See, now Home Depot, Lowe's, and Walmart are hiring ex-offenders now because they got this situation now. If you come out of jail for 2 years, that state of Virginia will bond you.
Right.
Yeah, so now, like I said, Lowe's, Home Depot, and Walmart are hiring ex-offenders because if they lose something,
Yeah,
they
they
get
get
the bond.
it's almost like you're insured. I've seen that happen personally myself where I've been released and I actually got a job because of the fact that it was basically like the state was putting an insurance policy on me. If I messed up, the state would be responsible for it up to like, I think it was like $5,000.
Yeah, 5,000 or 5 or 10,000 or something like that.
So how long now have you been homeless for?
4 months.
4 months.
4 months.
And what, I mean, just, I can't even imagine what that would be like. Could you talk a little bit about what it's been like to be homeless for that long?
Once you get used to it, it's not bad. But like the first month, it was tough. You had to find some place that's out of the elements. Like when it rained, you're kind of screwed. And if you did find a place, you have to keep it a secret because some people don't want you there. They'll call the police on you. You get called for trespassing. You get locked up. But for the most part, like I said, in Chesapeake, the people are real nice. Everything I own has come from a person in Chesapeake. I live in a tent. Well, actually, I bought the tent. I bought a 3-man tent. I had a lady buy me 2 heavy sleeping bags. I get food every day, hot meals. I haven't bought a meal in 2 months. So I get fed every day. I get tons of water. The only thing about my situation being a homeless is I don't have a place to shower. You know, so I gotta use the water that I get. I'll heat it up and washcloth shower.
How exactly do you go about heating the water up?
Usually I end up going into 7-Eleven and using the microwave.
Wow.
Nuking the water so it's warm.
And then taking it back
Taking it back.
Do you take it back to where you're actually living at with the tent, or do you go into the bathroom at the 7-Eleven?
I'm the type of person that I don't want to intrude on people like that because I've seen other homeless people go in the bathrooms and do stuff and they leave the place a mess. I went into the Janus Shopping Center one day. I went in there and I shaved. I cleaned up everything, made sure everything was like where I left it. Seen another homeless guy go in there. I'm sitting out there charging my phone, like a half hour. I go in there, and the sink area is a mess. Hair all over the place. If you're homeless, make sure you pick up after yourself because people don't want trash and stuff laying around. If you keep the place like it was, people don't bother you. It's when you leave a mess, people bother you. That's like on my corner. Every day, I'll pick up all my trash, take it away, and if there's stuff blowing on the street, I'll pick it up. You know? When I worked for a company, my boss always told me, leave it better than when you got there. You'll get more business that way, which is true. If you leave some place clean and people see it clean, they're more generous.
Do you consider being homeless almost like being your own business?
Actually, I make more money homeless than I do if I had a 7 to 3 job, make a minimum wage.
So how much money do you make on a weekly basis just holding up a sign?
On a good week, over $700. My worst day was I was out there for 4.5 hours. I made $7. Okay, that was my worst day. But I usually average anywhere from $18 to $30 an hour.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't even be laughing about this, but this is just unbelievable to me because I'm spitting all over myself.
Look,
I've never made that kind of money working any job.
2 Sundays ago, it was raining, pouring down. I got out of church, I set my spot. I sat there for 1 hour, made $130.
Now, real quick, I gotta say this because there's gonna be people who hear this who think, you know, this is absolute, I mean, this isn't right that you could sit out here and make this kind of money. But we're talking about a person who has absolutely nothing at all in the world. And you explained this to me really well earlier when we were sitting at McDonald's having a cup of coffee. You're not panhandling. Could you explain what you told me in McDonald's?
Virginia has this new law going in the whole state of Virginia. I'm holding up a sign. That's one of my amendment rights. Panhandling is which is illegal in Virginia, is when I come up and talk to you and ask you, do you have any change? Do you got $1? That's illegal. That's panhandling. Okay, holding up a sign is an amendment right. I think it's a freedom of speech or something like that, where all Virginia is changing that. It all started with a minister up in Richmond who had signs out advertising for his church. And the city of Richmond, I think it was, said the signs were too big, that it was in violation, and they fined him. He took him to court and he won, and for one of the amendment rights, freedom of speech or something like that. And now everybody in Virginia is redoing their statutes for it, because you're not supposed to be able to sit in the middle of the median, but you can sit there as long as you ain't obstructing traffic. Like I'm not holding up traffic or something like that. Then they can give me a ticket. But what I do, I just sit there with a sign. I won't talk to anybody unless they talk to me, you know, because then you're into that situation where you're panhandling. But if you start talking to me, I'll start talking to you.
So can you tell me about any times where you've been harassed by the police for doing what you're doing?
About 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I was down in Norfolk at Midtown Tunnel before they redid it. When it was a single lane, they used to back up there every day. So I was standing out there with a sign. And people in Norfolk, put it bluntly, they would call the cops on me every day, throw stuff at me every day. I was down there one day and the cops pulled up. They gave me a ticket, took me to jail, spent 14 days in jail, got a fine, and I spent 14 days in jail for holding the sign up and got fined. I think it was altogether like $400 and some.
You said 3 years ago, so this isn't the first time that you've been homeless?
When I first came down here, I went with my sister, and they were living in they were renting a room, all right? So I kind of didn't want to intrude on them, so I had them drop me off at the Union Mission. That's when it was in downtown Norfolk. Let me tell you about the Union Mission, the Salvation Army, all them places that you think are helping people. it's a crock. When I was at the Union Mission, this lady pulled up, had hams and turkeys. It was this time of year, Thanksgiving, Christmas time. Had a whole trunk full of turkeys and hams. She said, get what you want. The Union Mission guys come running out there and said, that's ours, ours, ours. The lady says, no, I told them they can take what they want. So we took what they want. I was staying at the Union Mission at that time. I stayed there until after Christmas. We never saw a turkey or a ham all that time. And this lady dropped off enough there to feed at least 900 people. That night, I was out back of the Union Mission and I seen the staff of the Union Mission taking turkeys and hams and putting it in their cars and taking them home. And the Union Mission at that time were ignorant people. They told you could not drink, could not do drugs, and all this stuff. I walked over to McDonald's on St. Joe's Boulevard. I went in there, got me an egg McMuffin and stuff, and I sat down eating. There is the guy who runs the nighttime intake, sitting there with a cup, right? So I'm watching, he bends down, I see him take a quart of Colt 45, pour it in the cup and start drinking it. Now there's this same guy who is testing you when you come in, you're homeless. If you have alcohol on your breath and stuff, he will turn you away. But this same guy is sitting at McDonald's at 10 o'clock in the morning drinking. And the Salvation Army, on rainy days, I was sleeping underneath the overhang. I know they open up at 8 o'clock, so I would get out of there at 7 o'clock. Salvation Army called the police on me. There, I'm homeless. You're supposed to help people. Don't call the cops on me. At least he told the cops that he told me many times that I can't stay there. I never talked to anybody in the Salvation Army. I'm the kind of person who is, I won't start a conversation unless you start a conversation. That's my way. I'm kind of shy and stuff like that. So if you don't talk to me, I won't talk to you. So you're telling the police that you told me a few times? Like I said, I try to clean up to myself. If you told me not to stay there, I don't want to get arrested, so I'm going to leave. Don't call the cops and lie and tell you told me 3 or 4 times to leave and I don't leave, which is just crock.
So obviously you've dealt with quite a bit of turmoil from Salvation Army, Union Mission. Is that part of why you don't go there now looking for any kind of help?
Look, they got a Salvation Army, I think it's on 17th or 18th or 19th Street in
Virginia Beach.
Norfolk.
Oh, Norfolk.
It's the little one, only houses like maybe 20 people. They have a soup kitchen there, right? So I have a loaf of bread. I'm outside feeding the pigeons. Salvation Army comes out and says, you can't feed the pigeons on the property. I said, okay, right? So now I go out on the sidewalk. I'm feeding the pigeons. This is my bread. Well, I actually bought this bread and I'm feeding it to pigeons. They come outside and tell me I can never come back to the Salvation Army. For feeding pigeons, I'm banned for life from the Salvation Army.
Why?
For feeding pigeons.
I mean, but what was their reasoning for banning?
They didn't give a reason. They said, you didn't listen to us, you're feeding the pigeons, we don't want you back. You're banned for life. I can't even go in there and get a cup of soup. That's why I'm telling you, these charities are all scams. I just heard on the news, a friend of mine, I got a phone that I get because I get food stamps. A friend of mine texted me on Facebook, is saying about this people when they had their last hurricane down in Florida, went to the, I think it was the Red Cross, tried to get help. They denied them, and they showed pictures of the house, and all you could see was the roof. And they denied them emergency shelter.
Yeah.
You know what's wrong with this country? This country is, we're great to go help other countries, but you got vets here that are homeless. We're homeless. You care more about people overseas, what they think of you, than taking care of your own people.
Let me ask you this, has drugs and alcohol been a part of your life or part of your problem at all?
When I was younger, when I was into the stealing the construction equipment and stuff, I was into the drugs.
And what drugs were you into during?
Cocaine.
Cocaine? What about nowadays? Do you drink? Do you do any kind of drugs?
I don't do drugs, I don't do drinks. I don't drink. But I'll have a beer on Sundays if I make enough.
Let's talk about how cold it is right now, because to me it's absolutely freezing. My hands are cold, and this is what you deal with on a daily basis. What do you do when it gets this cold? How in the hell do you stay warm?
Well, see, this morning when I got there it was 45 degrees. As you see, I actually took the coat off because it's in the 50s. I have a t-shirt, a hoodie, shirt, and the coat. I wear 2 pair of gloves. I got a tassel hat that I put there. I put this hat over it, button it down, put the hoodie up, tie it shut, and we try to stay warm. And it's kind of hard because I was told, many people told me come up where I sat. They said if you walk the line, you'll get more money. But I'm the type of person, like I said, I don't want to force your hand. I don't want to walk up and down making you want to help.
Now, who tells you this? The people who are pulling up next to you, or other homeless people?
People are pulling up to me who are giving me the dollars. I had like 4 people told me, said, you know, you can make more money if you walk the line.
Because as we've seen, you're always just sitting right there on top of your bag.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not the type of person who want to force you to help me. The people who walk up and down there, they're like kind of giving you the guilt trip. Like, look, I'm homeless, help me. Look, I sit in one spot, I sat there. You pull up, you want to help me, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. I'm not gonna make you feel guilty because I'm in this situation.
So let's talk about what work has been like for you. Do people come up and offer work to you?
I had a guy named Ryan. He has a fence company. He come up to me one day, stopped the play. He says, I've been meaning to talk to you. He says, I got $1 in the ashtray for you. I'm like, okay. He gives me $1. He says, you interested in work? I'm like, well, I'm always interested in work. I said, I'd rather work than sit here. I said, you know, it kills me sitting here all day. My back hurts and stuff. I said, I'd rather be working. He says, well, you want a day's work? Jump in the truck. I went in the truck, worked for him that day. He says, I could use you tomorrow too. And he comes by anywhere from 7:45 to 10 after 8. If he needs me, he waves me into the truck. If he don't, I stay there. But I usually get at least 1 or 2 days a week from him.
Talk about the most amount of money that somebody's given to you.
I had, I say he was maybe 19, 20 young black kid, stopped and gave me a $100 bill.
What did he say when he gave you the money?
He just said, here you go, have a good day, bless you.
Wow.
Thank you, sir, bless you. You know, have a good day. I had another lady come up, she was driving, I think it was a white T-Bird. She came up, she gave me $10 and the light was red, so we got to talking. And I was telling her about the job I had that I did for the guy. I put 40 hours in and he never paid me. And she said,
what do you mean he never paid you?
I went to work for him down in Virginia Beach, down off of Lansky Road. Actually, the place that we was all driveway. They poured the concrete and they wanted brick pavers along the side and at the front, be out to the front. So my boss took me down there. I did the whole job myself. It took me a week. I had to make my own concrete, wheelbarrow it over, lay everything down. It took me a week to do it. He was paying me $20 an hour, so that's $800. He claims he never got paid for the job. So I've been texting him, saying, look, I said, you owe me $800. $800 would get me into a motel room for at least 3 weeks. Because if you pay by the week, it's cheaper than by the night. So I said, that would get me into the motel for at least 3 weeks. And if I get in there, I probably catch up and stay ahead so I don't have to leave and I can get an address so I can actually put in the application that I have a permanent address. He has never paid me. He actually texted me on, I think it was Saturday or Sunday. He said he's working for a company now that gets paid bi-weekly. He'll have something for me this Friday. Something, I don't know. He's told me before he did meet me Friday, he'd pay me. He never showed. So I'm kind of leery. I'm just taking it day by day. If he pays me, if not, if it comes down to it, I'm going to have to go to legal services in Norfolk and put a judgment against his company.
Raymond, I gotta hand it to you, man. Just being out here with you for probably about the 2 hours that we've been out here with you for, it's cold. And this is what you deal with on a daily basis.
This isn't bad. This isn't bad. Actually, when I started today, it was 45. It's up in the 50s now, so it's decent now.
Can you tell us about one of the worst days that you've experienced being homeless? Possibly dealing with like the rain or the elements. Like, I'm sure there's been some pretty miserable days that you've had to deal with.
Well, I think it was 2 Sundays ago. I got out of church. I came up there trying to make it up for lunch, cigarettes, and dinner. I was sitting out there. All I had was a little $1 plastic poncho. It was cold, wet. I was soaked. That day, I had a young couple come up and gave me a brand new set of rain gear.
Wow.
And, yeah, I'm telling you, the people out here in Virginia, Chesapeake, are really, really nice. Like I said, that was one of the worst days. I left there and I had the little poncho, but I was already wet, soaked after he gave it to me. I sat out there for about 2 hours, got pretty wet. That's probably one of the worst days, the rainy days.
What about before you had a tent? How would you sleep? Where would you sleep?
Well, when it wasn't raining, I slept on the grass there behind the Best Buys and stuff like that. But when it was raining, I would go over to the Salvation Army store and it'll have a little overhang. And I know the store opens up at 8 o'clock. So I would sleep there until about 7, get my stuff up, clean up, and leave then. But like I said, Salvation Army called the police on me one day. He said I was trespassing. He said that he talked to me a few times, which was a lie. He never talked to me. And like I said, the Salvation Army is supposed to help people. Help me. Don't call the cops on me.
What did the cops say to you when they arrived?
Cops said, he said, you're not allowed to be here. He said, this guy told you a couple times. I said, officer, I said, I'd never spoken to this guy. I said, I don't even know who you're talking about. I said, I'm usually out of here by 7 o'clock because I know the store opens up at 8. I said, I don't want to be a nuisance to the store or the people coming in. He said, well, this guy said he told you 3 or 4 times. I said, I never even spoke to the guy. I said, I don't even speak to these people. But they called the cops on me. The cops told me, he says, I can't stay there. If I do go there, if he catch me again, I'm going to get locked up for trespassing.
Let me ask you a really crazy question. You know, there's homeless people who will go out and commit small crimes in an effort to get locked up because they don't have anywhere else to go. Have you ever thought about doing that yourself?
No, not even crossed my mind. I'd rather be out here freezing or doing what out here I can do what I want. I go where I want, do what I want, and stuff like that. If I'm in jail, I'm locked up, I can't do this, I gotta do this, I do this. It's never crossed my mind.
So it's safe to say that you would definitely rather be homeless dealing with all of the hardships that you're dealing with right now than ever be locked up.
Yes, yes. I was locked up before, and you don't want to be locked up. That's one of the worst experiences I ever had. You know, you gotta get up at a certain time, you get fed every day, every time. You gotta watch whatever's watching on TV. You can't get up and go to the refrigerator and get yourself a snack, stuff like that. I'm the type of person, my mother is on a fixed income. I don't ask her for anything, so when I'm in jail, I gotta survive by doing what I have to do. When I was in jail, I was doing people's laundry for extra food. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to do somebody else's laundry just for a snack or something like that. I'd rather do what I'm doing. If I make a couple bucks, I can go to 7-Eleven, buy a snack, stuff like that. No, I would not want to go back to jail. It can get below 0 out here. I would not want to go back to jail.
You know, when we first began this interview with Raymond, we asked Raymond if there was anything that he really needed right now, sleeping bags, any kind of warm weather gear, and he said that he had everything that he needed in that regard. He did, however, say that there was one thing that he needed, and we're gonna help him get that today, and that's actually an inflatable mattress that he can have inside of his tent. That way he's not sleeping on the ground. So right now we're gonna go get this inflatable mattress for Raymond, and hopefully that will help to make his situation at least somewhat better.
Yeah, sleeping on the ground, it's like sleeping on the metal beds in prison. You know how you sleep on one side, your hip goes numb, you gotta roll over, the other hip goes, so you can never get a good night's sleep. I wake up at least 4 times a night where my hip goes numb and I gotta roll over on the other side and try to get comfortable. This mattress will be a blessing. Plus I'm off the ground, it'll be warmer.
Raymond, could you explain to us how you're going to go about inflating this inflatable mattress? Because obviously you need to be able to plug this thing in, right?
Yes, I'm going to have to go over to the 7-Eleven down the street from what I'm saying. They have an ice machine with an extra outlet. So I'm going to have to pump it up there, and I'm going to have to do this at nighttime. Pump it up at nighttime, and then walk back up the street to where I'm sleeping. Wait for the traffic to go so nobody sees me go in, and go in then. Because if somebody sees me, you get the wrong person who's going to call the cops, and then I gotta find another place. And I got the tent, I got my sleeping bags, I got blankets, I got food, everything, my clothing that I have to carry away. So it may take me 2 or 3 trips. And then I don't know how far I gotta walk for the new spot. So I try to be careful going in and out. I go in and out at nighttime. And when I come out during the daytime, I make sure there's nobody at the light and stuff, so I can sneak out. Yeah, I had a friend of mine who's an alcoholic. He got locked up. I think he got locked up when it was in the warm. They let him out in January. They let him out with the same clothes that he had on when he came in. He's an alcoholic, so he went back to his spot. He had some beer there. He drank the beer. He fell asleep on the bench and froze to death. So the jails don't care when they release you or what you're wearing. If you come in the summertime in shorts and a t-shirt and you get released in the wintertime, if you don't have people out there looking out for you, you go out in the wintertime in your shorts and your t-shirt. The jails do not care. They just want you out.
All right, we're in the sporting goods section. This is where I'm thinking these inflatable beds are.
Yeah, actually, yesterday I got clipped by a car.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Did they even stop and say, hey, are you okay?
Nope, nope. Yeah, this young kid was asking where the movie theater was.
Are these the beds?
Yeah,
This is it?
Yep.
The thing's $8.
Yep.
An $8 inflatable bed. This is what you need?
That's what I need.
You sure you don't want one that... I feel like an $8 bed is probably...
The queen's too big for the tent. The twin is the smallest one they got. That's what I need.
I'm just having a hard time understanding this is only $8. There's no way this is only $8. How do you even inflate it? There's no way this thing's got an electric pump. You're probably blowing this thing up.
Nah. It shows you the nozzle. We put the thing in. This is pretty heavy. I think I'm pretty sure there's a pump.
But this is what you need right here.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get this for you for sure. Is there anything else we can get for you? Because
that's it. I got pretty much it. And I got my sleeping bag, blankets. Pretty good.
what about like a little portable stove thing?
See, I don't want to cook in there. No. But I did see.
I mean, look at this right here. Look at this. This is a butane stove right here.
But I was down. This guy picked me up one day. He wanted me to clean some pots and pans. He was having a, well, actually, he's a correctional officer for Chesapeake Jail. He asked me to come up one day. He said, you want to do some work? I said, yeah. He said, well, I got some pots and pans. He said, I got a colleague who's retiring. He says, I'm going to deep fry some turkeys and stuff like that. He said, you want to clean some pans? I said, yeah. So I went over there and cleaned the pans and stuff. Gave me $30 for 2 hours work. He said, you mind helping me take the his cooker to the propane shop to get fixed. So I went down there with them. They got these little heaters that go on top of the gas tanks. Think about getting one of them.
Yeah, I'm looking at them right here. I'm thinking, do they even have that type of stuff over here?
I've never looked over here for something like that.
Because, I mean, it's cold as fuck outside. There's got to be some kind of like portable heaters.
I've never seen anything in Walmart for like a heater for camp.
It's crazy to say this, but you were legitimately living like man versus wild. I mean, you're camping every single day.
Yeah, I'm surviving.
Talk to me about what your plan is for getting out of the situation that you're in right now.
Well, my plan is I'm allowed to go back to carrying on trailers in January. So all I got to do is survive for, what, another month and a half. Then I'm going to hopefully save up enough to get a bus ticket back up to Warsaw, Virginia, reapply. I talked to the plant manager. He said there's no reason I can't be rehired. So that's what I'm doing. That's my plans of right now.
I mean,
survive for another month and a half, then go back to Warsaw, back to work.
I mean, if you explain to them your situation and what you've been through since then.
These people don't care. They got a company to run. Like any big company, it's dollars. This is where I stay. Got my plastic over top to keep the rain out.
Does that help?
Yeah, it does. Because I don't think this is waterproof. So I just wanted to be safe, so I got the plastic to put over it. Got my sleeping bags and pillows. That's all the food that people is giving me.
You're gonna be able to fit that mattress in there?
Oh yeah. It'll go in a long ways. This is, I think it's 6 by something. The instructions said it would fit a twin size mattress. So it should fit in there. Even if I gotta put it diagonally. Anything better than sleeping on the ground. I got a sleeping bag folded up underneath. I got a bed something protector over top of it. And I got a blanket underneath. That's what I sleep on. And the green sleeping bag's what I use to cover up with. And it's warm. With the plastic on, it keeps the heat that's in it.
That's a nice bike.
Yeah, my church gave it to me after I told them that my other one was stolen.
Is there a reason why you don't ride this one? You don't want to give people the wrong impression?
Well, if I go down there and ride it, people see the bike, they see it's kind of new, it kind of deters them. So I use the bike when I gotta go someplace. I'll use it Sunday to go to church because church is like 2 miles away. I'll ride it to church and stuff. Then I'll take it with me because I don't want to come back here because it's daylight.
Right.
But we can come in here today because I don't have no bags and stuff. It looks like we're actually doing something constructive. We're not trying to sneak in and stuff.
So Raymond, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk with us, tell us your story, and also show us where you live at, man.
It's no problem. Like I said, as long as like we sneak in during the day, we look like we're doing something, it's all right. We weren't carrying nothing, so it looks like we were looking at the property, so that's good.
There's a lot of people potentially who are gonna see this video and hear your story. Is there anything that you would like to leave everyone with? Some final words to all of this?
Yeah, I need a job, full-time job, so I can get off the street. That's what I need. If I get a job, then everything else will fall in place. I can get someplace to live. That's the main thing. After I get a job, I get my birth certificate, get my license and stuff. That's the main thing. Now, the money I make out here, either I get a room for the night to get out of the elements, buy cigarettes. Usually I make roughly on the average about $70. And where I stay at the Red Roof, it fluctuates. During the week it's like $60. With taxes like $76. During the weekend it's like $90 per night. So, and if I go down the military circle is cheaper, but then I gotta catch the bus, and it's like a 2.5 hour ride there and back, so it kind of cuts into my time here. So I like to stay close.
What keeps you going? Like, what keeps you motivated and focused and not giving up?
My father taught me don't give up, and I refuse to give up. I'm doing what I have to survive. I'm not stealing. I don't want to go back to jail. Like I said, jail, I don't wish that on anybody. I'd rather be doing what I'm doing now, surviving. Like I said, it's day to day. Some days it's good, some days it's not. But I'm not going to give up. I finally found a church where I feel, well, actually I feel part of the church. I like it, so I've been going every week. So, like I said, I'm surviving.